All right, guys, welcome in episode 14 of New Wave Certified. I'm your host, John Larkin. Today, we're recapping week 2 of the matchup between Kennedy and Prairie, as well as talking a little bit about the week 3 preview that we have coming up here this week. So we just reached 775 subscribers on YouTube. So make sure if you're new, you go ahead, you subscribe, you drop a comment, and you let us know what you want to see next. Other than that, though, we'll see you at the end of the show, and hope you guys enjoy. Prairie went on the road to play Kennedy in week 2 of Iowa high school football here in Cedar Rapids. The game was played at Kingston Stadium. I wasn't actually able to make the game, but I had a lot of folks that were there kind of keeping me in tune with what was going on. And from what it sounded, it was a good game to be at, good game to watch, a lot of great athletes competing against one another. And at the end of the day, Prairie came out on top. The final score of that game was 38-13, Prairie. And from what I understand is that it was kind of a slower start to the game. And that's kind of an area that we had talked about last week on the show, was how fast of a start was each team going to get off to, and I felt that the team that got off to the fastest start was going to end up having a better chance of winning the game. Well, actually turned out that both teams started off pretty slow. A lot of turnovers early on from what I understand. I think Prairie turned it over 3 times. I want to say, I don't even know if those were all in the first half, but they turned the ball over 3 times, and then Kennedy turned it over twice. So even though Kennedy ended up winning the turnover battle, Prairie still ended up winning the game. And I think that was contributed to them being able to stop the rushing attack from Kennedy because of a stud player named David Fasson, man. We talked a little bit about him in the preview last week leading up to it. He had a lot of tackles for loss coming into the game. And I mentioned that might be something that he's able to lean on and be more disruptive on defense. And he did just that. A couple sacks, and they get 3 sacks, a couple TFLs, a forced fumble. Anytime that you can create turnovers for your team, you become very valuable. Sacks are obviously drive killers. So it's hard to get going on offense if you get behind the sticks. And obviously when you give up sacks, that's going to happen. So as far as the penalties go, we talk about staying on track, staying on time with the flow of your offense. Both teams had equal amount of penalties, 8 penalties, which is kind of a lot, considering how many times they turned the ball over too. So a lot of negative plays in this one. But, I was reading an article recapping the game since I wasn't there, obviously, that talked about Prairie acknowledging that they needed to clean up a lot of things. And granted, it is only week 2, so I'm not saying that's an excuse necessarily, but it is more of an explanation why a lot of this stuff is happening. So if they can get that stuff ironed out, like they talked about in that article, which they know this, they can get that stuff ironed out, they're going to be very, very difficult to beat. I mean, you turn the ball over 3 times and you're still able to score 38 points. That's pretty impressive, and that says a lot about their offense and defense playing well together, some complementary football. So it didn't seem like Kennedy was able to get anything going on offense. I think they finished with 92 yards passing and maybe 75 yards rushing. Those are rough estimates, but again, they were missing quite a few players on their team. They were missing their starting running back, Mario Orr. He's coming back this week, so we'll see kind of how big of a jump start he can get that team going with. And, I know they're missing a few people on defense as well, so we'll see how they can kind of right the ship, the rest of the season. Looking back at where I was right and where I was wrong, I did say that the turnovers was going to be a big deal. I said, hey, if you're the quarterback of your team, this is your first time playing in a big game, don't turn the ball over. Well, I'm pretty sure with like the second or first play of each offense, they turned the ball over. So, yeah, I was wrong about that, but oh well. Kennedy, they weren't able to cash in on them opportunities. So that's something that they're gonna have to learn from, and then Prairie's obviously gonna have to clean that up a little bit. Where I was right, talked a little bit about Prairie having a running back by committee. I think they had 2 different running backs score rushing touchdowns in this one, and then also their quarterback had a rushing touchdown. So running back by committee from Prairie, since they're missing their starter. The thing I was also wrong about was Kennedy's offensive line. I thought that they looked a little bit better in person when I watched them against West, but I guess maybe Prairie's defensive line is just that good. Maybe Kennedy does have a good offensive line, but Prairie, they have a solid defensive unit. And, I just would look to see how Kennedy changes their game plan on offense if they decide to throw the ball down the field a little bit more. I know that the longest play they had was an 81-yard touchdown to Braden Peck down the sideline on a go route. So, I mean, if they can throw the ball down the field a little bit more, I'm not sure if they did much of that. I wasn't there, so can't really comment on that. But just looking at the box, it didn't seem like there were very many other receivers that had more than 15 yards a catch. So that's going to help out, spread the ball out and open up some running lanes, which can get your offensive line going as well. Where I was right, I mean, again, talking about, David and those guys up front making an impact, being disruptive, and then also the big playmaking capabilities of Drew Bennis. I think he had a 74-yard or 62-yard, something like that, receiving touchdown. I joked with him. I said, hey, man, you had 17.2 fantasy points in PPR. So I think he had 2 receptions for hit 2 receptions. Okay, here we go. 17.2 minus 6, so 11 minus 2. Yeah, about 92 yards receiving. Yeah, I did good math there. Math is mathing. Where I was wrong, again, just the fast start. Neither team got out to a fast start. The score at halftime was 14-0, so still relatively close game. But at the end of it, I was right when it came to Prairie coming out with the dub. They won again 38-13. My score prediction was 35-15 or 13, something like that. 35-13. So I did get part of it right. Might have to double check me on that. I don't know. We'll find out. But looking ahead to week 3 and who we're going to watch this week, really excited to go check this one out. I actually went to this game last year, and watched these 2 teams play. It's actually a rematch from last year between 2 very talented groups, and that being Xavier, Cedar Rapids Xavier, and Clear Creek and Manna, CCA. Last year, CCA actually came out with the dub. They had a quarterback that was making a ton of plays, just extending plays and kind of just getting Xavier's defense, out of rhythm, out of sync. So they were able to make some plays that way, but Xavier did end up turning the ball over a few times in that one, I'm pretty sure. So, but things to note with that, right? Just kind of an overview of what I'm able to find out from Xavier. I'm pretty sure their offense hasn't turned the ball over once this year. I could be wrong on that, but again, 0 turnovers from what I can tell. The quarterback, Cash Parks, shout out Cash, he's been very, very efficient with his passing, as well as also being a dual threat athlete running the ball. I think I saw something on his Instagram that he caught a pass too. I don't know. With Xavier, you never know, man. They're always pulling out these trick plays. So I wouldn't doubt it if we saw some of that here this week, especially against a team like CCA, who's probably built on the big play. So also got a shout out a couple of other guys from Xavier. Bo Morio leading the team in tackles. He's a linebacker that's flying around making plays. So you love to see that. And then also Carter Hoffman the running back for Xavier. He's averaging about 20 attempts per game. It's kind of funny. I remember the last game I went to last year, he had like 20 rushes in the first half. So looks like they're using him a little bit more efficiently now that they're able to be a little bit more consistent in the passing game. So we'll see, how complimentary they can continue to be, or if they get behind the chains, or if they get behind, if they have to switch things up. Are they going to lean more into the passing game, or are they going to really lean into that rushing attack? We'll see. But from what I can tell, it seems to be more of a balanced approach. And that leads into a reason why they're able to protect and possess the ball for a longer amount of time. The one question that I do have, though, is how well are Xavier's defensive line, or how well is Xavier's defensive line going to be able to play against CCA? So I was looking at the stats, and it didn't seem like they had a sack. I don't think that Xavier has a sack this year. It's only been 2 games, but still, not even a half a sack. So, that's something to watch, to see if they can, get them, CCA behind the sticks, with some sacks. But, if you win the defensive line matchup, a lot of times you're going to win the game. So that's something that I'm going to be watching to see how dominant they are on that end. But again, it seems like they're pretty balanced on offense. When it comes to CCA, it's kind of the opposite. They are a little bit more, big play from what I can tell. They have multiple guys that can score. The quarterback, what I remember watching him last year, like I talked about earlier, he's very, it seemed like he was very much a scrambler, and that he can extend plays in that way. And anytime you can do that, you kind of get people out of their lanes and you're able to open things up. But the question I have with that is, it didn't seem like he had a great QB completion percentage. So if they can Xavier can get them into those more passing downs, I think they're going to be able to get off the field a little easier in that sense. So that's something to look forward to as well. Last year, what happened, it was a back-and-forth game. Xavier ended up losing. So I know they're going to have a lot of emotion going into this as far as wanting to, get back from last year. So we'll see if they're able to do that. My prediction for the game, again, I think that as long as Xavier can run their offense the way that they've been doing it, they take care and they possess the football, it could go either way. I think that if they do that, they don't turn the ball over, they possess it for a long amount of time. And then, again, if they can get CCA in those 3rd and longs, like the 3rd and 9s, the 3rd and 7s, make them throw the ball, they're going to be able to get off the field a little bit more often. And so if you're able to do that and you're able to be efficient on offense, you're going to limit CCA's scoring opportunities, and then you're going to also, pick up a lot of yards and first downs because of that on offense. So I think if that were to happen, I would obviously pick Xavier to win, and I think that the score would probably be 28 to 7. That's kind of what I'm thinking, 28-7, Xavier in that case. But if it ends up being anything like last year, where CCA is able to make these big plays and they're able to extend plays and just kind of play some backyard football, so to speak, that's obviously going to change the outcome. And they're going to make more splash plays to keep their game within reach. So it is homecoming for Xavier, so we'll see if that plays a factor into it. But I think realistically what's going to end up being the final score of the game, I think the score of the game is going to be I want to say 28 to 21. 28-21. I think it's going to be a close one possession game. Again, defense is going to have to step up for Xavier if they want to, keep it, kind of put them away, so to speak. So that's what I've got for that. Just kind of looking around the league here, around Iowa high school football. It seems that what we can look at it as far as like week 2 goes, and now it's into week 3, you're kind of starting to see who's real and who's not. You know what I mean? What teams are starting to be like, okay, this team's worth, you know, paying attention to. So I think that as the season continues to progress, that'll obviously show its head a little bit more. But you want to see these matchups unfold knowing, hey, this team beat the X, Y, and Z team. You know, we should be able to beat them. Or is it going to be more of a, you know, we think that, you know, just because they beat, you know, a good team that we can't win? Like, I doubt that's going to be the case. But all right, well, week 3 preview in the books. Shout out to all the guys that have been working hard this off season, that are starting to see their results show here this football season. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Until then, stay smooth, moving you forward, redefining performance new way. Let's get it.